The Oxford Dictionary's definition of outlier is this: a person or thing that is different from or in a position away from others in the group. Now, there could be many forms of outliers in reference to this definition. For example, one could be physically disabled and therefore labelled an outlier. In regards to this video, however, I want to focus on those who are the top 0.1% in society. And I'm not talking about it from a purely financial standpoint. That's right. I don't regard multimillionaire or even billionaires as outliers, not even the good-looking ones. I'm talking about men who are the rarest amongst the rarest. These men possess certain skills and attributes beyond just a gigantic bank balance and a chiseled jawline. In this video, I will discuss what makes a true masculine outlier in the modern world and lay out the blueprint for potentially becoming one yourself. Now, to identify an outlier first, we have to establish some norms. So the average yearly wage in the US is around $50,000. Only around 10% of men exercise regularly and just 3% lift weights. The average lifetime sexual partners for a man is 6.4 and IQ score is around 100 on average. Now, upon hearing these statistics, most men will find they fall into the category of average. Now, there is nothing wrong with average. You can live a very happy and fulfilled life operating within the norms. But if you're watching this, I'd harbour a guess that you want more from life and more from yourself. Maybe you want to be the top 10%, maybe 5%. How about becoming a high value man? The Leonardo DiCaprios, LeBron Jameses, or Anthony Joshuas of the world. Surely those guys are the outliers, no? They're rich, good looking, world-class performers in their respected fields, high value and most certainly rare. But true outliers? No. Not by my definition anyway. You see, an outlier possesses multiple skills across various domains. He's a man capable in almost any endeavour and can thrive in the modern world and in Mother Nature. There are plenty of good-looking, in-shape, rich men, but they often tend to be very specialised within a single domain. Think those actors and sportsmen. They're very good at very little. Throw them out of their comfort zone and they become just like every other Joe Schmo you bump shoulders with on the daily. A true outlier is so rare that the best example I can give is a fictional one. James Bond. Real life versions do exist, but if you orientated yourself to developing many of 007's skills, you would hold the title of a true outlier male. Now, an outlier must possess multiple skills, but with that comes a slight catch. The time needed to develop in such a wide variety of attributes means world-class performance in any of these domains probably won't be possible. You won't be a 10 for skill in any area, but aiming for a 7 across the board will put you head and shoulders above any world-class specialist. So without further ado, let's establish the skills and attributes needed to define an outlier in the 21st century.
So first up is good looks. Okay, now this is mostly down to genetics, I know that. Some guys are gonna hear this and just immediately turn off and be like, well, I'm screwed. Okay, but I genuinely believe that most guys have the ability to get to about a 7 out of 10 or above. And you can do that by going to the gym, working out, training, getting in shape, lowering your body fat percentage. You could work on your grooming, get a good haircut, trim on the beard, etc. You could do some facial exercises, look maxing, neck exercises, and so on. So I genuinely believe that most guys have the ability to do that, to get to a 7 or above out of 10 in terms of looks, and that'll stand you above 90% of men. Next up is in excellent shape. Now, I mentioned previously about good looks and being in the gym, but this is talking about being in actual good shape, not just looking good. You see, bodybuilding or training through aesthetics is sort of the main dogma for the fitness industry, and even for the masculinity movement right now as to how to look good. But if you're going to be an outlier, you can't just look good. You have to be in great shape. You have to be strong, you have to be mobile, agile, you have to be fit, have endurance. You're going to have to be a very capable person physically in the real world and out in nature, and that means you really do have to be in excellent shape. Now, you might sacrifice a little bit of aesthetics, you might not look the most shredded guy and have the biggest biceps, but that doesn't really matter if your physical skill set is wide and varied and you're actually a very physical, capable human being. Third on the list is intelligence. Now, for the most part, intelligence, again, is genetic. You're born with set level of intelligence to a certain degree, or is developed in the younger years. Now, for example, no matter how hard I work, I'm never going to have the intelligence of a Jordan Peterson or a Richard Dawkins, right? But I do believe you can make yourself more intelligent by becoming more skilled, developing different skills and attributes. That's been shown with studies to increase intelligence and IQ scores. But there is no reason for you to not become more knowledgeable, more understanding of what's going on in the world, gaining more information, putting the pieces of the puzzle together about how the world works and how you should best operate in that world. So you should be reading, studying, reading philosophy, science, history, all of this stuff, finances, yada, yada, yada. Develop a wide range of knowledge and understanding of the world. And that, again, is going to put you above the rest of the crowd. So many people, like I said, they're specialists. They know a lot about very little. Doctors, for example. How many doctors I've spoken to, unbelievable. They know so much about the body and medicine, but outside of that, in terms of politics, finances, psychology, spirituality, whatever it is, haven't got a clue. So again, you can increase your intelligence by a small degree, but you definitely, by a large degree, can increase the amount of knowledge that you have. So I've put this one at 100K a year. I believe 100K a year in most Western countries, you can live a very, very comfortable life, existence if you're just starting at 100K, even some luxuries in there as well. So as I mentioned before, the average wage in America, for example, is 50,000 per year, just over. So you're doubling that. Now, putting you in the top 1%, you'd have to earn over 800,000. But like we said, if you're spreading across your skills across multiple domains, which if you want to be an outlier, you'll have to do, you might have to sacrifice trying to make as much money as possible. But again, you're going to have to focus a large chunk of your development in being able to make money and make good money, whether that be a business or your career and so on. So anything above 100K a year, you can live a great life. It's very good money, very comfortable, and again, puts you well above the average person. Learning to fight is absolutely crucial. To be a very masculine man, I've spoken about this before, you have to be able to learn to fight. How can you walk around not knowing how to fight? As a man, you walk into a bar, there's always going to be this at least subconscious, maybe semi-subconscious level of insecurity when you're amongst other men, if you don't know how to fight, don't know how to handle yourself. And if you're an outlier, this is an absolute vital skill. You just never ever know when this is going to be necessary. Hopefully it never will. Hopefully you can always de-escalate any sort of situation. But if you cannot, you better believe that you know how to throw hands and how to grapple and so on. I recommend boxing, jiu-jitsu or wrestling. Don't need to go too far down the line, don't need to become too specialist, don't need to become too obsessed with it. You can learn the fundamentals for a good year or so, and you're gonna be able to beat, in a fight, 99 men around you at all times. It's just, most men don't know how to fight, and unless the size discrepancy is too big, you're gonna be very confident, and it's a huge confidence booster as well. And as an outlier, that's what you gotta do. Fix and build things. You should be able to, at the very least, change a light bulb, right? I know how to do that, but again, I'm not good with the DIY, but if you can have some general level of knowledge and understanding of that, and how to fix some plumbing, some basic plumbing around the house, some basic carpentry to build things, etc. That's a huge, huge skill set that can become very, very important, especially if you're going to be out in the wild, out in nature a lot. Knowing how to build things is going to be great for you. Women love it as well. Women love men that can fix things, right? DIY men, handymen, they love that stuff. It turns them on. They're going to get you, if you can do that stuff, they're going to get you doing a lot around the house, but again, you're going to be rewarded for it. So it's another skill set that you need for an outlier. Next up is survival skills, and this relates to your ability to survive and thrive in Mother Nature, whether that be in the forest, out in the mountains, out in the oceans, whatever it may be. You can develop a wide range of skills in various terrains. This is definitely going to set you out and be a skill set that is very rare. For a modern day man, you don't need to learn these skills, right? Everything is on our doorsteps, supermarkets, you get the food delivered to you, heating in your house and so on. But the reason I put this as a need for becoming an outlier is you don't know what's going to happen in the world. You really don't know what's going to happen. COVID-19, the pandemic, showed this possibility of civilization potentially collapsing and enough people dying, who knows? Now that was at the very beginning, but at the beginning of it, it was interesting because a lot of people were laughing at those preppers for a long time. And then COVID started and people started taking these people seriously. They started going to those preppers for advice on what to do, what to buy, and how to potentially survive the pandemic and out in the wild. So you don't know what's going to happen to society. You don't know, maybe another pandemic will happen that is far deadlier. Zombie apocalypse. Who knows? Nuclear war, and you survive it. You just don't know. And having those survival skills out in the wild, learning how to hunt, learning how to navigate in the wild, learning to read a map, a compass, basic things, make shelter, etc., set traps and so on. These are skill sets that could come in handy and save your life and other people's lives one day. You just don't know. And even if you don't ever really need it, going and learning it is a great skill set to have, and it's a hell of a lot of fun getting out there in the wild. I always talk about pushing yourself and testing yourself, and one way to do that, and one of the best ways to do that, is to go out into the elements and let the elements test you. And in order to do that, you're going to need to learn some of these skills. And if you are doing that, if you are testing yourself in the wild like that, again, you don't know what's going to happen. Something might go drastically wrong. And having those skills will be a benefit. And they set you out. They set you out. Like I said, most men, most people do not have that skill set, do it, and have no idea. Look at a compass, look at a map, what to do. Absolutely no idea. Hunt for food, no idea. You just don't know what's going to happen. So having that skill set sets you out and absolutely puts you in outlier status. Excellent social skills. This is a must. If you have a wide skill set, the ones what we're talking about here, but your social skills suck, if you can't connect with people, you're anxious around people, you're nervous, you have no friends, you have no network or anything like that, it's almost pointless. It's almost pointless. You can't really do anything by yourself. The lone wolf narrative is a myth, in my opinion. And you need a social circle, you need a skill set, you need people to come to talk to have fun with, to switch off with. Can't be on the ball all the time. But if you're going to work your way up those hierarchies and you're going to become more and more successful and develop more and more skills and learn about it, it's going to be necessary to learn social skills. And I'm not just talking about being comfortable around people. I'm talking actual skill sets here. There's a wealth of information online about communication skills, how to communicate with people, how to connect with them, how to emphasize with people, how to understand people, how people to understand you, how to get what you want, people to do what you want, and so on. I was going to start a business, a little side hustle about sports coaches, teaching them communication skills, and I learned so much. There is so much to learn. And understanding body language as well, that's massive. Developing your body language and understanding body language and people lying to you and so forth. So get out there, get online, learn about this stuff. There's so much information, videos and books and courses you can take. Because most people's social skills aren't very good. Most people, when they talk, they're waiting their turn to talk. They're not really connecting with the other person. They're not really listening very well. And now I know certain tricks and tips and so on. When I look at people communicate, it's messy. It looks messy. It's not right. It could be a lot better. And so when you learn these skills, your life improves, because the more good people you have in your life, the better your life is. I absolutely believe that. So top social skills, necessity. It's a necessity. And all high value people, all high value men and outlier men have great social skills. And those social skills sort of lead into the next asset on the list, and that is a high value network of friends. Now, all high-level men, all top 1% men, all outlier men, they have a network of friends that are very influential people, powerful people, and they're very competent people. And if you really want to go far, like I said, you need people around you, and you need high-level people around you. You want to be very successful, you need to understand the game, and you want to go to people that understand the game, and they're going to help you like that. You can't do everything by yourself. It's just not possible. It's not going to take you far enough. And you need to garner information from people that have been there and done it. And you need help from those people. And that means you need to develop the network. So those social skills that you learn are going to help you to develop a network of friends that are powerful. Now, we've all heard that saying, your network is your net worth. And it's very true to a large degree. Now, if you offer, you've got a lot to offer. And hopefully, up until this point, you develop a lot of skills along the way. These outlier skills, you're going to have a lot to offer. And high-level people want to work with highly skilled individuals, unique individuals. Now, you might say, but right, if you're an outlier, you're highly skilled, you've got all these skills across varying domains, maybe you don't need help. I don't believe that. You cannot do everything here. You cannot tick every single box. You're going to need help. Yes, you could be very proficient in business. Yes, you could be very proficient in fighting and social skills. But you're going to need other men, other high-level people to help you along the way and give you information. If you're a man that is proficient, if you're a man that is skillful, if you're an outlier, people are going to come to you for help. And if you can't help them, you better have someone that you know can, that you can call up and say, listen man, I've got a problem here, help me out. So people will come to you with all their issues and all their problems and want fixing. And even if they know you can't get it done, they're going to know that you know a guy. That's a very powerful thing, very, very powerful thing. So a high-value network is, again, it's another necessity on this list, and it sets you apart because how many people do have a network of high-value people? Good with women. Now, obviously, you don't need to be straight to become an outlier. You can have all the many of these skills and be gay. That's fine. But in relation to this channel and everything else, I'm a straight guy and I talk about women all the time. And so you need to be proficient with women. How many men are actually good with women? Apart from the top level guys, the really good looking guys and high level guys. But even then, I see a lot of really good looking guys get a lot of attention from women. They're not that great with women. And that actually maybe doesn't burn them in the short term. They get women, they get laid, but in the long term it burns them. They still have a blue pill mindset and they get in a relationship with the wrong person and it messes them up, it ruins their life. So you have to be good with women, you have to understand women. And if you're going to be an outlier and if you're watching this, I'm sure that's one of the things you want to be highly proficient in. Connecting with and dealing with the opposite sex. So if you've developed all these skills but you're useless with women, again, it's pretty pointless, right? Because you're probably wanting to develop these skills to get good with women. So you've got to understand women. There's a wealth of knowledge online. If you're not red-pilled, Google red pill, read The Rational Male, understand all that, understand female nature, and be at ease and be confident with women. Because like I said, there's not many men that are, there are not many men that can just go up to a girl, middle of the day, sober, see a girl they like, and approach them. That's pretty rare as well. So if you can do that, you'll absolutely stand out. You'll stand out to those women, and along with all the other skill sets, outlier. And the last but not least on the list is living by your own values. Now, I actually put this arguably the most important, and I've left it last for a reason. Again, it doesn't matter what you do, how skillful you are, how rare you are. If you're not creating and living by your own values, you are not an outlier male. You are at the end of the day living someone else's narrative, most likely society's narrative. You're still plugged into the matrix and you have no true sense of individuality. A true outlier male looks at what society tells him, what you should be doing, what is necessary for you. And he looks at that and disregards what he doesn't view as necessary. He takes what's useful, what's valuable, uses that, and then thinks deeply about these things. With all his experience, with all his knowledge and understanding of the world, creates his own values and says, I will live by them, and I will not be discouraged or knocked off course by living in and accepting someone else's values placed upon him. Very, very important. Again, it's very, very rare in society. How many people truly have their own value set and live by that? That's why I put it in outlier status, because the last few years just proved to you this, right? The last few years to show to you what's happened with the pandemic or the scandemic. How many people did live by their own rule set? You know, everyone followed, most people followed the social narrative. Most people just swallowed it up and accepted it. There was people that fought back against it, and there's people that just ignored it completely and said, this is wrong, I'm not living this way, I'm not doing this way, I'm not shutting up, I'm going to use my voice, my platform, and I'm going to spread the truth no matter how difficult it is. And I respect those people absolutely. To the day I die, I will respect those people. I remember them and respect them. And I remember and I know who they are because they were so rare. So set your own values. Nietzsche talks about this. You know, if you want to be the higher man, the Übermensch, you live by your own values. Now, you can't create your own values out of nothing. You can't create values that no one has ever had. They're obviously under the umbrella and the domain of humanity. But you get to choose what they are. You get to decide what they are. And that means red pilling yourself on many subjects. Women, politics, philosophy, psychology, all this stuff. And if you do learn and understand the world and you develop these multiple skills, you'll be in a better place to create your own values and live by them. Because you trust yourself, you back yourself, you know that no matter what happens, even if I am rejected by society, by these values, it's okay. I'm a highly skilled man, I'm highly adaptable, I will be fine. And that is why it's so important and why it's so powerful to live by your own values as a man who is highly skilled. And so that's why I put that in as an outlier.
So there you have it. The Outlier Blueprint brought to you by a man who's not an outlier. But in all seriousness, not everyone who attempts to become an outlier will make it. Many will fall by the wayside. Every skill and attribute I've mentioned takes decades to acquire. But if you have the will and desire to become a truly elite civilian, it can be done. And even if you only ticked off half of the list, you'd still be a very rare breed of masculine existence. Let me know what you would add or take away from my blueprint, or if you think it's even a worthwhile pursuit. And if you do choose to chase outlier status, remember, embrace the struggle.